Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad. Wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. La siyama baqiyatullahi fil aradin. Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. One of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam about Ziyarah is that Ziyarah does not only benefit the visitors, it can benefit also people who meet the visitors and show their appreciation of their ziyarah. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, إذا انصرف الرجل من إخوانكم من زيارتنا أو زيارة قبورنا. When one of you returns from our visit or visit of our graves, means whether we are alive or we are not physically with you, but of course they are spiritually alive. If someone returns from our ziyarah, فَاسْتَقْبِلُوهُ, welcome them, okay? Receive them. وَسَلِّمُوا عَلَيْهِ, and send salam to them. وَهَنِّئُوهُ بِمَا وَهَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ, and congratulate them for what Allah has given them as a gift. So by showing respect and honoring the people who have done ziyarah, then you will get the same reward. فَإِنَّ لَكُمْ مِثْلَ ثَوَابِهِ, you will get the same reward. They did the hard work, yeah, but Allah is looking for, excuses to give. So it's okay, show your appreciation of what this person has done, you will be rewarded. We have a general rule. Man radiya bifi'li qawmin fahuwa minhum. When you are happy with someone's action, you are like one of them. Someone has done ziyarah, you are happy with that. You show appreciation, then you are one of them. وَيَغْشَاكُمْ ثَوَابٌ مِثْلُ ثَوَابِهِ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ, and out of Allah's mercy you will be covered by a reward like this. It is interesting that the term which is used for thawab here is not i'ta. It's not that you will be given reward. It says reward will cover you. It's so great that you will be embraced by the reward of ziyarah. So therefore I always suggest that people who go to ziyarah remember people who are not there, and people who are in their homes, pray for the people who go to ziyarah. In this way we become one team. Those who have gone for ziyarah are like our representatives, but Allah then gives to the entire team, and when they return, you show appreciation. If a friend or family member or community member is able to perform Hajj, Umrah, Ziyarah, we should always encourage them beforehand and congratulate them on their return. We shouldn't let these things become, ordinary, or something that say, okay, many people go for Karbala, why I should visit this person who has come back from Karbala. No, We should give maximum respect when someone comes back from Mashhad, from Karbala, from Umrah, and then inshallah you will get reward. Then Imam continued, وَإِنَّهُ مَا مِنْ رَجُلٍ يَزُورُنَا أَوْ يَزُورُ قُبُورَنَا إِلَّا غَشِيَتْهُ الرَّحْمَةُ وَغُفِرَتْ لَهُ ذُنُوبُهُ. There is no one who visits us or visits our graves, because visiting them after they die is like visiting them when they were alive. He said no one visits us or our graves unless mercy will envelop them and their sins will be forgiven. Then we have a beautiful hadith that I referred to in the previous session from Imam Hadi alayhi salam, and this opens a gate of knowledge. Abu Hashim al-Ja'fari says, I went to visit Abul Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad al-Hadi, and Imam Hadi was ill. He was suffering from fever. Imam said to me, O Abu Hashim, send a man from among our followers to the Ha'ir. Ha'ir is the name for the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Some people say it's the first kind of chamber or the whole shrine of Imam Hussein. It's called Ha'ir. You know, we have ulama who are called Ha'iri. Means they come from, you know, Karbala, but they are given this name, you know, by their ancestors or whatever. So Imam said, ask one of our followers to go to the Ha'ir and pray for me to be cured. Abu Hashim says, when I left the Imam, I met Ali ibn Bilal and I informed him of Imam's order and asked him to be the one who goes to the Ha'ir of Imam Hussein and pray for him to another city. Ali ibn Bilal said, I am at his command. However, the Imam is more sacred than the Ha'ir, because he has the same rank as the one in the Ha'ir. So instead of going to the shrine of Imam Hussein, why Imam doesn't pray himself? Because he's Imam like Imam Hussein. Okay? It is more effective if he prays for himself than I pray for him in the Ha'ir. Okay? But he didn't say, I will not do it. He said, I will do it, but he said, I have this question, you know. So, then this question was raised to Imam alayhi salam. So Abu Hashim says that I informed Imam about the question of Ali ibn Bilal. Imam al-Hadi said this. Said, tell him, Kana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi afdala min al-bayt wal hajar. Rasulullah was better than Hajar al-Aswad or, you know, Kaaba. But still he was doing tawaf around the bayt and touching Hajar al-Aswad. And then he says, وَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى بِقَاعًا. Allah has some places that He loves to be prayed and called upon from those places. إِنَّ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى بِقَاعًا يُحِبُّ أَن يُدْعَى فِيهَا. He has places that He loves people call Him from those places. فَيَسْتَجِيبَ لِمَنْ دَعَاهُ, so that He would answer to their du'as. وَالْحَائِرُ مِنْهَا. Ha'ir of Imam Hussein is one of those places that Allah loves people to call Him from there, and then He would grant them. So our Prophet and Imams alayhimus salam, they didn't say, we are ourselves ma'soom, we are, hujjah of Allah, we can, do dua from anywhere. No, they were very much doing everything that was loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with, of course, honesty, but also in this way they were giving us lessons. Because some people may think Imam may pretend doing istighfar or doing, ziyarah, etc., so that we learn. No, they don't pretend. It's genuine. They really ask for forgiveness. They really make dua. They really go for Hajj and Umrah. They love. But at the same time, they give us lessons. Zayd ibn Shaham. We are starting a new discussion. It's very important. Zayd ibn Shaham says, I asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, what is the reward for those who go for the ziyarah of the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Okay, Zayd ibn Shaham says, I asked Imam Sadiq, what's the reward for those who visit Imam Hussein's grave? Look at what Imam Sadiq said. He said, Kana kaman zarallah fi arshihi. Visiting Imam Hussein is like visiting Allah on his throne. Okay? Then he says, I ask him, what if he visits one of you? For example, visit Imam Sadiq, Imam Baqir. Then Imam Sadiq said, Kaman zara Rasul Allah. If he visits one of us, is like visiting Messenger of Allah. So you see, Imam Sadiq tries to give more prominence to visiting Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Okay? My understanding is that if we visit Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, also we are visiting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we mentioned many hadiths that even visiting a mu'min for the sake of Allah is visiting Allah. But Imam doesn't want us to think ziyarah of Imam Hussein should be treated like other ziyarat. Either because there are different levels of visiting Allah. Visiting Imam Hussein can take us to the highest levels. When you visit Allah, fawqa arshihi or fi arshihi. Okay? Or because there is, more chance, more accessibility. For example, what's the difference between visiting Imam Hussein and Amirul Mu'mineen? Imam Raza alayhi salam said that the difference between ziyarah of Imam Hussein and ziyarah of Amirul Mu'mineen is like the difference between Imam Hussein and Amirul Mu'mineen. Okay? So it's not that the ziyarah of other imams or Amirul Mu'mineen should be underestimated, but because practically we need more emphasis on Imam Hussein alayhi salam for the reasons that I told last night, Bainul Haramain. I said, Allah has a special historical task for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his martyrdom. So lots of emphasis has been put on visiting Imam Hussein, mourning for Imam Hussein. No Imam's martyrdom is considered the same as martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Yeah? So we should not think other visits are not important. We should just realize that this is a place that certainly is very highly recommended to visit. The late Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari, I don't know if you have heard his name. Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari, or in Arabic they say Tostari. Shushtar is a city in Iran. He was suffering from weak memory. And maybe for ihtiyat or because of weak memory, whenever he was giving membar, he was reading from texts. And his membar was not very engaging and interesting. Okay? If there are seekers of knowledge, they actually may appreciate that you use notes and read from text. But some people, don't have patience. So, he had tawassul to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Then, in dream is not hujjah, but some dreams have signs of being, authentic and true. He saw that Imam Hussein alayhi salam said to Habib ibn Mazahir to give him something. There was something like sabiq, flour and oil. Among Arabs, still also they have this culture. There is like wheat flour and oil, they mix. It's something they can eat. It has energy. So Imam referred to Habib ibn Mazahir to give him some sabiq. And then Habib ibn Mazahir gave him a little of that. And when he woke up, his memory was strong. But more than that, he started understanding points about Imam Hussein that they were very new. Some of his points were never said before. And there is a book by him, Al-Khasa'isul Husayniyah. This book is about things which are exclusive to Imam Hussein. Okay? I don't know if it is translated. It's in Arabic. Maybe it's, I don't know. I have to check. But it's in Arabic. For example, Shefa is put in the soil of turba of Imam Hussein. This is exclusive to Imam Hussein. We don't have anything about soil of other Imams, for example, being used for healing. Okay? Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari or Tostari, on page 14 of this book, Al-Khasa'isul Husayniyah, says something that has become very popular, but some people don't know the source. He says, فَرَأَيْتُ فِي الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ خُصُوصِيَّةً فِي الْوَسِيلَةِ. All Imams are wasila. All the prophets are wasila. Okay, wasila. A means that you can use to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A means that you can use to draw Allah's love and mercy more to yourself. Okay? But he says there is something specific, special, unique in Imam Hussein as a wasila. Or he says all Imams are gates of heaven. But there is something special about Imam Hussein. All Imams are Safinatun Najah. Okay, they are the ark of salvation. But Imam Hussein has something specific. So then he explains. He says, Prophet and Imams, kulluhum abwabul jinan. They are gates of heaven. Lakin bab al-Husayn awsa'. The gate of Imam Hussein is wider. Okay? Means more people can enter through the gate of Imam Hussein. Not because he is higher than Amir al-Mu'mineen or Lady Fatima or Prophet. Okay, he's not higher than them in rank, but because of his sacrifice, Allah has gifted him with something that he can help more people. Okay? But whatever he has is from Amirul Mu'minin, Lady Fatima from Rasulullah. So, Babul Hussein awsa', lakinna Babul Hussein awsa'. Wa kulluhum sufunun najat. All Ahlul Bayt are arcs of salvation. لكن سفينة الحسين مجراها في اللجج الغامرة أسرع. You know, when there are waves, very strong waves in the ocean, ships are in danger, and at least even if they are safe, they cannot move fast. In our life, we face calamities which are like waves in the ocean, in the sea. The Safina, the ark, the ship of Imam Hussein, is the one that can more quickly go through these waves. Okay? وَمُرْسَاهَا عَلَى السَّوَاحِلِ الْمُنْجِيَةِ أَيْسَرَ. And when the ark reaches the, for example, seashore and wants to, have the, embank. When you come to the seashore and you want to let the passengers come, embankment, what do we say? Docking. Yeah. For the ship or the ark of Imam Hussein, it's aysar, it's easier. So it's more quick when there are waves, and easier when you want to come down, reach the, disembark. وَكُلُّهُمْ مَصَابِيحُ الْهُدَى. All of them are lanterns of guidance. لكن الاستضاعة بنور الحسين أكثر وأوسع. But more people can benefit from this lantern. You see now, even Hindus, even Christians, Zoroastrians, Sunnis, all connect to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because his light is of a kind of nature that more people can relate to. Yeah? وَكُلُّهُمْ كُهُوفٌ حَصِينَةٌ. All of them are caves which are hasina, are safe. If you are in mountain, you look for a cave that in the night, to protect you. If there is animal, whatever, or bad weather, you go inside the cave. لكن منهاج كهف الحسين أسمح وأسهل. Normally, when you want to reach the cave, you have to climb. There are some difficulties. But Imam Hussein is a cave that reaching this cave is much more comfortable and easier. Okay? And this is why I believe, one of the reasons that Imam Mahdi needs Imam Hussein is because Imam Mahdi has universal mission. His mission is not only for the Shia. It's not even only for Muslims. So he needs a point of reference that all human beings can relate to. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the one who has this ability that can attract all human beings. Unfortunately, we have not done proper introduction of Imam Hussein to the world. Sometimes I say people, if today you ask any person in the world, in any country, who has been to a school even for a few years, do you know Mahatma Gandhi? Yes. Do you know Mother Teresa? Yes. Do you know Nelson Mandela? Yes. But many people, if you ask, do you know Imam Hussein? They say, we don't know Imam Hussein. Who is Imam Hussein? Yeah? Although we had 14 centuries These people are contemporary. They died just recently. We had 14 centuries, but we haven't been able to introduce Imam Hussein enough. Yeah? But before Imam Mahdi comes, the situation would be different. When Imam Mahdi comes, all people of the world, almost all, would know Imam Hussein first. Second, would know that he is the icon for justice and honor. Third, they would take a position either to be for him or against him. The world, in my understanding, will be polarized around the icon, which is Imam Hussein. So, the tyrants, the oppressors of the time of Imam Mahdi, they would clearly talk against Imam Hussein. They would question Imam Hussein and they say, if we were in the position of Yazid, we would have done the same. And this then makes sense that Imam Mahdi would make reference to Imam Hussein and call for revenge for the blood of Imam Hussein. Inshallah, we will talk about this later. So, this is a kind of reverse engineering from the hadith about time of Imam Mahdi. I try to do reverse engineering to bring it to our time, how the world is going to change so that we reach that point. So, in any case, Imam Hussein has a special mission and task that has not yet been accomplished, like Isa alayhi salam. Isa has done part of his task, but part of it is reserved for Akhirul Zaman. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the same. Part of his task is to prepare the ground for Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Inshallah, we will talk about it more. So, Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari says, لكن منهاج كهف الحسين أسمح وأسهل. The passage to get to the cave of Imam Hussein is easier, it's more accessible. Are we the only people who visit Imam Hussein? For example, Shia or some Muslims or, anyway, people of this time? No. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, ليس نبي في السماوات والأرض إلا يسألون الله تعالى أن يأذن لهم في زيارة الحسين. There is no prophet in skies and the earth like Khizr. Khizr is on the earth. All the prophets are in the skies other than Khizr. Okay? But Imam says there is none of them unless they ask Allah to give them permission to go and do ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Not ziyarah of Imam Hussein in heaven, in a sky. Ziyarah of Imam Hussein in Karbala. So this place has so much light that would even draw the attention of the prophets. And then Imam Sadiq says, فَفَوْجٌ يَنزِلْ وَفَوْجٌ يَسْعَدْ. Some prophets come and visit and then they return. Then another group come and they return. So all the time the prophets are visiting the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This hadith in Kamil al-Ziyarah. Kamil al-Ziyarah is very reliable and trustworthy book. Then I have a discussion here about doing ziyarah together. These hadiths that we have mentioned can be applied to a person who alone comes for ziyarah and returns. Suppose there is no one here, someone comes alone and does ziyarah. these hadiths that we mentioned about the merits can be applied. But when you come and merge in, the ocean of people who are here, and you do ziyarah together, you do salatul jama'ah together, ziyarah together, or if a group come together from their city to do ziyarah, then it has another dimension. This was about one person, but when a group do something together, like salat furada, salatul jama'ah. In my understanding also we have ziyarat furada, ziyarat jama'ah. The difference is much, great. When people go, furada means one person goes. But when you go as a group, 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, or if you manage to merge into the people who are there and have unity with them, love them, okay? Become part of the team. Like, when we do Salatul Jama'ah. Salatul Jama'ah is a collective performance. Yeah, Salatul Jama'ah is not possible to do it one by one by one. Salatul Jama'ah only makes sense if we are all one team. Ziyarah also can be one team. So when you go there, consider other Zawar as team members. Say, we are some Shia who have come this time from different parts of the world to do Ziyarah of Imam Hussein salam. Then this becomes more significant. Okay? So, when some individuals make Ziyarah, for example, imagine one person makes Ziyarah at 7 o'clock, another person 7:30, another person 8, another. So you can add the rewards of these people. But if a group does, Ziyarah, then this is not 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay? So I sometimes say this, I say 1 plus 1 is not always 2. 1 plus 1 is 2 if they are separate and disconnected. But if they are connected, 1 plus 1 can become 100. Rasulullah and Amirul Mu'mineen were not 1 plus 1, 2. There was unity, so they could change the world. Okay? So if 2 people are united, they can change the world. If 10 people are united, there's amazing power here. And also, what adds to the beauty? This is another point. Imagine if 10,000 people are doing Ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It's great, yeah? 10,000. But what makes it even greater if these 10,000 are not from one city? So imagine, I don't know how many people are tonight in Karbala, say 100,000 or more. If these 100,000 people were only from one city, it doesn't have the same value that if mu'mineen from all over the world come. This is like, what we say about KLC. That when we started, I said to the brothers that find 10, 12 people from 4 cities, not one city. Because when there are more cities, the distance adds to the value. Because when people, for the sake of Iman, overcome distance, the more farther away they are, the greater is this achievement. Yeah, if I from, for example, the UK can connect to someone in Canada and US, is more significant than just connecting to someone who is in my country. It doesn't mean to miss the opportunity to connect people who are local, but it means that it's very significant if you can reach out more. So we have many, many people who come from different parts of the world, and this makes this very valuable. And then when it comes to Arba'in, we see that Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam have put emphasis on Ziyarat Arba'in. Our ulama, especially in the recent generations, alhamdulillah, they have been able to revive Ziyarat Arba'in in the way that if someone cannot visit Imam Hussein in other occasions, they try to be at least for Arba'in here. And Allah has made our experience of Arba'in something which smells like the time of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajah. The same fragrance of love and unity and social wilayah that we are going to have when Imam Mahdi comes. For few days you can experience it in Arba'in. People no longer think about themselves. People are not selfish. Everyone wants to serve. Everyone is proud of being a servant. Okay? This is something that we need to have it permanently. In Arba'in, for few days, we experience this. So I say Arba'in is local, is temporary but international. Temporary but international. We need to reach the point that it is permanent and universal. Arba'in is not universal. It's in a locality but international. When Imam Mahdi comes, it's permanent and universal. Then there is something in between Arba'in and coming of Imam Mahdi. We need people who keep the spirit of Arba'in throughout the year. So at least in some places in the world, either in person or connected via maybe online, etc., we need a group of people who have the spirit of Arba'in throughout the year. An exemplar community. Okay? So that Imam Mahdi can say to the people of the world, look, we have achieved this universal justice, brotherhood, solidarity, peace among ourselves, and now we want to offer this to you. Otherwise, if Imam doesn't have a sample to show, and people see, his followers are divided themselves, they, boycott themselves, they don't observe justice and fairness, people won't take it seriously because people are tired of beautiful words which are void. There must be, in my understanding, and I have lots of reference for that, a sample at least of a community that would be Mahdawi, would be according to the values that Imam Mahdi is calling for. This is very important. If this doesn't happen, I think Imam would not come. Okay, we stop here. Inshallah, we will continue our discussion when we meet next. I don't know whether in Karbala we can still have chance, but maybe, inshallah, either in Iran or somewhere. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So the last chapter is remaining that we should discuss about connection between Imam Hussein and Imam Mahdi. Any question?
I didn't understand that with the, between Arba'in and between the thing. I didn't understand the last how.
Arba'in is great, okay? The experience that we have in Arba'in, that for few days people, become different. People become like angels, okay? There is love, there is rahmah, there is trust. This is a gift. And Allah wants to say this is possible. Yeah? If you didn't hear about this, you say, how is it possible that people, even those who are poor, they happily offer and they ask you, please take from me. You cannot believe in this materialistic world People have competition for giving. This is a blessing of Allah to say that this is possible. But we need to have this throughout the year. Okay? At least with some Shia, you have to establish this level of unity that you can allow each other, to put their hand in your pocket. In social wilayah discussion, we have explained. Means if someone has need, should know that I am happy that he takes my money. Okay? Someone wants to take his child to hospital, doesn't have money. My coat is there. He must be sure that I am happy that he takes my money. This is an example, means great trust, love, unity must be between mu'mineen. And if this doesn't happen, Imam doesn't come. So we have referred to the hadith of Burayd al-Ijli from Imam Baqir alayhi salam, that he said, "Oh Imam, you have lots of followers in Kufa. Why you don't uprise?" Imam said, "Do you put your hand in the pockets of each other if you need?" He said, "No." Imam said, "Then with their blood they will be worse." So the test was unity. The test was not number or money or weaponry. The test is how much they love each other, how much they have that spirit of arba'in. Okay? So we should expand this in time and space. Now it's in a small place, just for a few days. This must be expanded throughout the year and include more people. But it's not going to be from this little to universal. There is one stage in between, and that is to have a community, a group of Shia, not maybe tens of millions, but at least a sizable number of Shia must have this spirit of arba'in throughout the year. Inshallah, hopefully this is happening. Maybe there will be a city, I don't know, there will be a village, there would be, I don't know, an online group that throughout the year people can go and feel the same spirit. Inshallah. Of course.
If you have unity within yourself, then you can create it, otherwise the soul is broken.
Yeah.
Manifest.
Even if you want to have unity inside yourself, you need to establish unity with other believers. These two come together, because one of the most spiritual ways of reaching internal unity and peace is to love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you manage to love people for the sake of Allah, then it helps you also within. This is why for us family is important, community is important, even for our relation with Allah, because our relation with Allah is not one to one. Our relation with Allah comes through our relation with each other. You cannot bypass people and say, I just want quickly connect with Allah. I said, no. What have you done with people? Okay? So the relations are very important. Islam is a religion of relations. But unfortunately, we have made it a religion of individuals with some actions. It's not Islam. This is very a small piece of Islam. Beauty of Islam is seen in relations among people. If you see people who love each other, trust each other, help each other, divide tasks, divide resources, these are Muslims. But if you see people just pray and fast, but they don't have anything to do with each other, this is not Islam. This is very, superficial level of Islam.
So it's about the space between people. If the space between people is where the creation happens. And this is the opposite of Western psychology.
Yeah.
Where it's about only what is inside you.
Yeah.
All the Western psychology focuses
Yes.
on just yourself.
Yeah. It is in connection with people that we can have our own, integrity, our own peace, because we are by nature social. We say al-insan madaniyun bit-tab'. Human beings are made in the way that they have to belong to family, to community, to society. Yeah? If you disconnect from other people, then you little by little lose your humanity. You see, during COVID, how much we suffered. Still, some people suffer from problems of that time. Why? Because we had food, we had, many things, but we didn't have human relations. Imagine if we were not even able to connect on phone and online, what could have happened? Even someone said something nice, that there was an experiment about, some children that they have been separated from their parents, and they were, in one of the Eastern European countries. They had the idea that, they wanted to have, increase in population. So they were asking people just to produce children, and the government was, taking care of them. And they realized that because these children were not, hugged and touched, they had psychological problems. So when parents touch children, hug children, it has impact on their brain, on their soul. Yeah, it's not just you give them the food and water and they grow.
Like the old people in the homes who died.
Yeah.
And so is the next stage is retreat, which is the more advanced stage.
Pardon?
And then how does this relate to retreat? Where for 40 days you go on a retreat. That's the more advanced
Yeah.
stage.
So retreat, for example, if it is, alone, it is good, but for a limited period of time, not for the whole year. That is because sometimes we are so much immersed in busy life that we need sometimes, solitude. Because you shouldn't go to extreme and become too busy with people. You should always be able to have your also private time for reflection. So we need both sides. We are not just social or just personal. We are personal and social. We need both together.
It's the middle path.
Yes. You're welcome. Any questions? One thing is their position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another thing is their functions. Functions can be different because they all become one complete set. Okay? But they may have different functions. For example, Imam Mahdi has one function. Imam Sadiq, Imam Baqir, Imam Kazim, Imam Riza, they had different functions. And Allah has a special plan for humanity through Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Someone had to take this plan, One person had to. So, and this is in need of sacrifice. Because we need, for example, knowledge, we need wisdom, we need spirituality, all these things. But we need also someone that could demonstrate the value of respect and honor and izzah to the people of the world in the way that even a person who doesn't know Islam would understand. Okay? Someone who demonstrates the most important values of humanity, and everyone can relate to that. So, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in order to demonstrate that, had to be put next to people that would create the contrast. You know, if you want the light to shine, you need also darkness. If you want a flash of light. And this was by the barbaric acts of, you know, Yazid. So Yazid, with all the mischief that he did, he helped us better understand the value of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. You know, enemies can show the value of someone in the way that friends cannot show. Okay? So, if Imam Hussein alayhi salam had everything apart from that last few months, he had, you know, Du'a Arafah, he had, you know, spirituality, all the teachings. But he didn't have that several months, he would be very much different. And we were not able to see the strengths of Imam, his patience, his commitment, his dedication, and to see that nothing was able to shaken him, nothing was able to make him compromise about his values. Okay? Or Lady Zainab. If Lady Zainab lived all her life, apart this 1 year, for example, before and after Karbala, we were not able to see her values so vividly and clearly. So, someone had to undertake this greatest calamity, this musibah. One person had to take it. And for some reason, this was given to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. There must be a reason for that, but you know, it's too big for me to understand, you know, why Imam Hussein was chosen for this, why Lady Zainab, you know, was chosen for this. But someone had to take this, and Allah found he is the best person for this. And now every person easily can understand Imam Hussein. If we give a little, you know, presentation, everyone can appreciate. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.